Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the Bologna Show presented by the Chicago Sports Bums. I am Bologna. I'm here with my main man, my merch man. Look at that hat, baby. It's Jose.
That's a nice hat you got there. And,
and Threads. Look at that hat.
Since this is a Kanye episode, where am I? Look, I got my Jesus piece on, got my Kanye shades, and I had to bring the Henny.
Oh, my God.
I had to bring the Henny. It's all in good fortune, you know. It's had to bring the Henny out like the Grammys. If we're gonna do this, we got to go 100%, right?
Damn,
and it's brand new too. I've had this, and you know what? There's no better time. There's no better time.
You know what? What a hot start. What a hot start. We're doing Henny. I got a little Manuscrito tequila.
Okay. I mean,
good friends at Manuscrito. You know what? We might as well rattle off some of the super chats that we got going on. We might as well cheers some people as we drink. But going Henny on a Wednesday, I like the commitment to the bit, man. This is gonna be a fun hour or so.
Got my Bears Life of Pablo font with the little Kanye bear.
Nice. Kanye bears. Kanye bears were hot in the streets back in the day. Yeah. Those shutter shades were hot in the streets back in like 08. I remember I went to the Glow tour or the Glow in the Dark tour. What was the Glow in the Dark tour in 08. Those shades were everywhere. But salute to Gordo. He says, cheers, Jose. Screw baloney. I appreciate you.
Cheers, Gordo. How you doing, man? I'm slacking. I need to retweet this.
You know what? As you retweet that, I appreciate the retweets. I'm also going to start off the show saying, make sure you like, subscribe. We're 5 subscribers on YouTube away from 1,500. I like round numbers. So if we get 5 YouTube subscribers, that would make my life very, very good. We got another super chat from JT, our guy JT, saying, make Kanye great again. I don't know. There's people out there don't want to hear any of that. We're going to get to the good and bad of Kanye later on in the show. We're going to start off more good than bad because I said I want to reminisce on, the first like three albums or so. Hennessy Pure White. That's going to offend some people.
Look, just kidding. I didn't make this.
Joey P saying, hermanos, already off the rails. I mean, It's a Kanye show. We're going to get off the rails a couple times.
I like it.
Our guy D Fry saying Kanye and Jose world tour.
I mean, look, I've been fucking with Kanye for a long time. I know. Like, what's your earliest memory of Kanye?
So I remember this vividly because I was big into finding new music via late night MTV or MTV2. I remember there was like a New Music Now segment on Kanye from MTV News. And I don't think it was Kurt Loder, but it was someone interviewing him. And then it was like right after the car crash.
Oh,
so exactly. I remember when Through the Wire came out and I was like, holy shit, this is 1, different, 2, from Chicago. Like the car crash kind of humanizes him. And then he was doing the, like at that time I was like a more preppier kind of like, polos and Ralph Lauren's and like, like
with the collar pop.
Yeah, with the collar pop. So he was different. So I remember Through the Wire when it came out. And then that whole album, I mean, Jesus Walks, literally like blew my mind.
Banger. I mean, that album right there is just filled with bangers. And I'm with you. All right, it's like throwing me off now.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, Through the Wire, like just the beat and the fact that he's rapping through his mouth being shut, like what you can't top that. Can't top that.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it has to do with him being from, Chicago, at least early on. I was like, you always root for your guys, I know in the tweets while leading up to this, I know Colonel Bourbon, shout out Joe Bourbon. He said, local
Cheers.
kid from Oak Lawn. And I mean, he's kind of everywhere. He was South Side, 79th. And then he did go to Oak Lawn for a little bit. Or he was living in Oak Lawn for a bit, moved to China and then back to Chicago. He was kind of all over the place. But yeah, we claim him as one of our own. Through the ups and downs, we claim him as one of our own. So you kind of root for the Chicago guys. Speaking of Chicago, before we really deep dive into Kanye, you were here in town for like a cup of coffee. And by a cup of coffee, I mean like 15,000 drinks with Joey P and Sandy P. But we missed each other. We did not link up.
No, we didn't.
Weather was to blame. But how was your two days in Chicago?
A blur. As soon as we landed, we had gotten the news that the game had gotten postponed, and in great fashion, Joey P showing us just the best hospitality, Sandy as well. We went to go eat, and then that's when the drinks started flowing. We started off with some cocktails, and then the Malort started flowing, and took a little break, went back to the hotel for a little bit, and then we went to Ositos, where
great spot.
I fancy some of their Malort cocktails that they have there. What he's doing there is pure magic. Shout out Ositos. The atmosphere is fantastic. The food was good. The drinks even better. And of course, we were getting a lot of hate. Joey was getting a lot of hate because no invites were sent out.
I was working. I was busy.
I guess it was all like need to know to join in the fun. I know.
Cool people only. I get it.
Yeah, but somehow HBIC showed up, so I don't know. He did give me a stern talking to. I wasn't allowed to have Joey out past 10. I think there was a strict 10 beer limit.
Like a parent.
They're like, no, you can't give alcohol to Joey P past 10. He turns into a fucking gremlin.
Yeah,
and he won't show up. So and then we went to a cool little pop-up.
Yeah, the Drunken Clam, right?
The Drunken Clam, yeah.
The Family Guy pop-up bar. That I did have FOMO on. I saw you guys taking shots out of an airplane. It all looked very cool.
Look, I will give shit to HBIC. He's a stickler for some things. But for some reason, like a child, he zoned in. He zoned in on that little airplane it was off to the side on a DJ booth. And he's like, can you serve shots on that? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. He was like, let's do it. That's all he wanted. He was just giggling like a little child, just as they came in with with an airplane full of 8 tequila shots.
I like that. I know SBF is in the comments saying, who was the girl reporter on the MTV News, red hair, white chick? That was Tabitha Soren. I remember all of I was a fiend for MTV back in the day, hoping to get a little Blink 182 or Dashboard Confessional on MTV2 every once in a while. But yeah, I remember Tabitha Soren. But yeah, man, it just sucks that we didn't get to link up while you were here, but I'm sure that's not going to be the last time I see you. Although I did say, Julie, not a Kanye fan, there's rumors of a possible September show at Soldier Field. I put the tea leaves out there, and I know I trust a couple of the sources saying that they're trying to lock September for Soldier Field. So you might have to take the flight back out there. I was like, I'll get the tickets.
Look, don't tease me, because that's a quick trip. Well worth it.
You did it for Oasis. We'll do it again for Kanye. All right, we are going to deep dive into Kanye. I want to talk about the first 3 albums before we get to all the controversy and stuff like that. But before we do that, I'm going to give a little love to my guy Yumper and Penguin Imprints is an independent print and custom apparel shop specializing in direct-to-consumer orders. From file prep to final cut, every order is treated like it matters and not rushed through mass production like other print houses. From sticker packs to t-shirts, custom canvas artwork, and my own personal favorite, the Abolish Ice line, Penguin Imprints has something for you. Penguin Imprints is a proud sponsor of The Bologna Show. Head over to penguinimprints.com and type in promo code Bologna for 20% off your purchase. Salute the Yump and salute the Penguin Imprints. They got a new merch line for Sandy P. Sandy P's got some tequila merch going.
Yeah.
We got to definitely pump that out. So even if you don't fuck with me, you don't fuck with Yumper, you got to fuck with Sandy P and Joey P. So
absolutely
go get that tequila merch. It's hot in the streets. Southside JT saying, I need my Southside Samurai hat made.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to figure out the name. Yes. He did send me a logo. I don't know if it caught y'all's attention, but he did say he wanted the proceeds to go to...
Oh, I missed all of that. JT,
Chicago
you don't have to do that.
But
that's... Yeah, the hot new nickname on the South Side. People love it, people hate it. But
let me find it, because let's see. Look at this.
Oh shit.
Looks nice.
That might make a good hat.
Yeah, it looks nice. I don't know. I know a guy that makes hats.
I also should mention, for the people listening on the podcast feed, because we are now on Spotify and Apple Music, you're going to have to go to the YouTube to see all those visuals. So make sure to head over to the YouTube as well. But I appreciate you listening to the podcast. All right, let's get into Kanye. Let's get into the early stuff. I've got, obviously, College Dropout, the first thing that really kind of got him on the map. I remember vividly, I was still in college at this time. And I mean, it resonated, one, like I mentioned, because it's Chicago, and then College Dropout. Hey, that's me as well.
Yeah.
It was just he's speaking my language. So this was like the first time I was like, holy cow! Like I mentioned, when I heard Jesus Walk, it was Through the Wire first, but when I heard Jesus Walks, I was like, this guy is on a different level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and everyone, and I guess I have little sprinkles of everything, because they didn't want him to be a rapper. They wanted him to stay behind the scenes, make beats. And that's usually the case for a lot of the people that produce. It's like, look, guy, you make the music, let us do the rapping. Let us be, the face of this music. But I mean, look, banger after banger. Lauryn Hill, Mos Def, Old Dirty Bastard, Jamie Foxx, Twista, Jay-Z, John Legend. And, I want to say, like, John Legend wasn't really...
He really hadn't popped off yet. Yeah.
I mean, but this is just... In all these songs, you can listen to this from start to finish, and you can appreciate each song.
Never Let Me Down is a underrated one. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is an underrated jam.
Yep.
Everyone's got like a couple of like the deep cuts, because the deep cuts sometimes are just as good as the singles. Sometimes, a lot of the times, with a lot of popular artists, maybe like the singles get away from them because like they just become commercialized and like gigantic hits, right? But like there's always a good amount of deep cuts to Kanye that like I always like. I do remember, speaking of commercial hits, when the new workout plan. I mean that's a funny song, especially in 04, 05. Cool. It makes you laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did you? At what point have you ever seen Kanye?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him for the Yeezus tour, here in San Antonio. Kendrick Lamar opened for him, and we can get to that album like later on. That was like when he was on his. That was a whole different Kanye, and the first half was all just like the Yeezus aspect of it. He had like the mask on, like I remember a third of the show, but then he went back to like the old Kanye, which a lot of people enjoyed. And I saw. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was at that tour as well, and I remember the thing is at that time he was like obsessed with Margiela. He had the Margiela mask with like the diamonds on it, and like the whole stage, that was the first time like he had done elaborate stages before. Because, like I mentioned, the Glow in the Dark tour, it was like a
Yeah.
spaceship. It had like spaceship theme, and like I'm going back. So like it was still cool, but like that Yeezus tour, it was like the mountain iceberg thing, and he's like up climbing it with the mask on the whole time. I was like, holy shit! I didn't like the mask all that much, but when he took it off, we're like, oh yeah, finally we're getting kind of.
And then he like parts the mountain.
Yeah,
and like it was great. But like you said, that was kind of like he's always done well with the stages and how he presents himself. But I mean, it's like each time, like he always outdoes himself.
Yeah. So it goes from, college dropout to late registration. And I remember like people like wondering if like if he was gonna be able to, like it's always like the sophomore slump kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
Like you're always worried about that second album after the first one is such a hit. And I think like as personally, I don't think is as good. It's pretty damn close. Of the first three, this is my least favorite, but like I'm saying that very lightly because they're all very good.
Gold Digger.
Yeah,
Bring Me Down. Diamonds are like those are all bangers.
Yeah, I remember Drive Slow with Paul Wall at that time.
Exactly.
Paul Wall could lay a verse down or two, especially back in 06, 07. Yeah, see, Yumper's right there with me.
He's on it. He's on it.
Slow. But yeah, Diamonds from Sierra Leone, like that was like, I was like, holy shit, this guy again. He's not rapping about like the typical rap stuff. Like he was like rapping with a purpose at some points.
Yeah.
So like,
but even made, like songs like Gold Digger, which it has its funny aspects. Like he was spinning some bars. And again, it goes back to like, oh, he's not just a producer. Like he is a good MC as well. And I know there's some things that he, other people help him write. I mean, who doesn't, right?
Yeah. And that's where I guess we could talk about like the ghostwriting aspects of this, because there's always been like he's always been musically. I don't think production wise, no one can touch him. Like he's always had the knack for sampling and beats and 808s and different like things that normal people just don't think about. Lyrically, I think, I wonder like how much of like the ghostwriting was going on back then, because it's like the new stuff, while some of it is decent, it just hasn't been the same, right? And right. You could talk about, Kanye, pre-Donda and post-Donda, like after his mother passed away, that's where everyone kind of like draws the line of like he was kind of never the same after that. But I do also wonder if like, oh man, he just rubbed people the wrong way. The same people that were helping him write lyrics don't do that anymore. Because like even like something like, like the mayonnaise colored Benz I push Miracle Whips, like that stuff like is next level. It's next level. And he hasn't had any of that in like the last decade or so.
I don't know, man. That's where we
disagree.
All
right. So next one, by far, I mean, Graduation. This thing was bananas when it came out. I remember like
this is the shades right here.
Yeah.
This is Stronger with Daft Punk.
Yeah, Good Morning, Champion, Stronger, I Wonder, Good Life, Can't Tell Me Nothing, Barry Bonds. Like, I mean, just like 1 through 10, I'm like, holy cow. And then you get the Homecoming, which is, a song about Chicago. So that was, I mean, nonstop loop for like 4 years straight in like Summertime Shy. Every car was just blasting it on a loop because like
that's
you don't get many Chicago songs.
That's like New York with Alicia Keys and fucking Jay-Z in New York. I mean, anytime you go over there in the tourist area, that's all they're blasting.
Yeah, Flashing Lights, Joey P saying Flashing Lights. It's always a good one.
Drunken Hot Girls.
D Fry saying not a big Kanye fan like you guys, but I think he's extremely smart and talented. And I think that's where I think a lot of people and a lot of the casual public, this around this time, before all of the craziness, like his, I don't want to say, I mean, his genius was unparalleled, but it was undeniable. He's winning Grammys, he's signing not only record deals but fashion deals and art deals, and his deal with Adidas. And before Adidas, the Nike line, if you remember the Red October Yeezys, that's one of those shoes. At that time, I was a big sneakerhead, and that's like just one shoe that just, like a lot of people, the one that got away. Yeah. Like if I could get my hand on a pair of Red October Yeezys to this day, even while he's canceled and I'm not even a sneakerhead anymore, I'm a 42-year-old washed up dad, I would get those Red Octobers. I love those shoes.
I mean, I guess this is where we can kind of not necessarily pivot, but ask the question, like, how big is Kanye? Because some people, like, they just said, like, oh, I'm not the biggest Kanye fan, but they know who he is. And I think that's the case with a lot of people that are not even familiar with, like, his catalog of music. They know that the antics that he brings, or, oh yeah, Kanye, he's the designer for this. Oh, he made these shoes. And at some point it's like, oh yeah, it's Kanye. Oh, he's so cocky and arrogant. I mean, how much is it arrogance or just confidence?
Yeah, and it goes a long way. I guess, like, we could talk about a little bit of the ego and a little bit of the madness and stuff like that. But, like, there's a bunch of lines. Like, I think, like, Aristotle had, like, everyone's had a line where it's like there's a fine line between genius and madness, and like he's always towed that line. And obviously he's come out with, like, the mental illness part of it, and like that's obviously a focal point of, like, his latter half of his career. But like you mentioned, like, he was ahead of his time on so many different things, whether it was touring and the set design and set production, even like those first two releases with Adidas, they were basically running shoes.
Yeah.
And at the time, people were like, they look like socks. People were out on them. They were literally everywhere. You couldn't find them. And for the next 10 years, every major sneaker company had like a ripoff of the Yeezy because they were so goddamn popular, and they made running shoes. Nowadays, if you go to high schools, everyone's wearing like Asics and New Balances and dad shoes. Kanye started all of that. Yeah. Kanye started that 10 years before anybody really jumped on it.
Yeah, the Wave Runners, everyone made fun of them. They're like, oh,
yeah, the foam terrible. Runners. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, sir. These are fire. And I do own a pair. I bought a lot of the 350s, never kept them. I always sold them off just because, I mean, they were going way above retail. So got to make that money. Thanks, Kanye.
I got one pair of the all white 350s.
Bold.
And I've always liked all white shoes. That was always been my thing. Even bold. Dude, you know what is funny? Before he came out with the 350s, he was on the Adidas Ultra Boost, the all white Adidas Ultra Boost. I bought like 2-3 different pairs of those things.
Those are comfy.
To this day, probably my favorite shoe to wear just to like a tailgate or like a ballpark or going to the zoo with my kids, because like they don't really look like dad shoes,
right?
But like they're comfy like a dad shoe. It's basically you're walking on foam.
Those are so comfy. I have a pair, and they last too. Like, you would think like after a lot of wear, like they'd kind of slow down on you, but I don't know. They're still mad comfy.
Super comfy. All right, let's get to Joey P's comment. He says 808 and Heartbreaks is probably my favorite album. He wrote that all out of pain and what he went through. I remember this was the first Kanye album to where I was unsure whether I was gonna like it or not, because it went so. I mean, it's 808. It's so like
not Kanye.
programmed beats and
Yeah.
synth. And typically I'm an 80s head. I like synths on a
And
lot
the
of stuff,
auto-tune.
but this was and the auto tune. And that's the big thing to where this one out of all of them took me a while. But a lot of the times you really need to deep dive into an album 2, 3, 4 times to really give it a proper judgment. And it just kept winning me over to the point where I was like, holy shit, this is actual genius.
Yeah. And that's the thing with him. It's like, oh, everyone's like, man, they just want the old Kanye. Every album, he's turning into like he morphs himself into something else. Like he's always growing. And
reimagined. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a couple of listens to be like, oh, I get it. Like, just like the shoes that he made. People didn't like them at first. And then they were the most sought after shoes for a while. Jumped over the Jumpman.
Yeah. Yumper's in the comments saying, salute to Yump. Of course. Thank you. Says Kanye's super talented. I love them until he started supporting the Nazi shit. He literally turned into his own verse. The prettiest people do the ugliest things for the roads to riches and diamond rings. Bar. But yeah, we're gonna get to the bad stuff because some of the stuff is on defense. I mean, we're gassing them up now, but there is a turn where it's like, how can you defend a lot of this stuff? And that's where we're gonna get to in just a little bit.
Yeah.
I got one last album that I really like. This is probably,
Woo!
I mean, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was next level. And I just keep saying that for each of these releases.
Yeah.
But after 808s and Heartbreaks, I was like, oh, is it going to go back? Like you mentioned, old Kanye. And then he drops this. And from the beginning with Dark Fantasy and Nicki's just speaking like a British child, basically, in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
And then like everything from Power to Monster to Devil in a New Dress and Runaway. This is peak genius Kanye.
Peak genius. One key. Bing.
Yeah.
Bing. Like you already know it drives the audience in any stadium. Everyone knows what's about to happen when that key hits. That's the fucking power of that song. And I don't know. That's just magic right there.
Yeah, so I will give a little bit of shout out to Julie as she is not a Kanye fan. She never has been. But we did come out to like our wedding, like when you would get announced as bride and a couple husband and wife, we came out to all of the lights because she likes Rihanna, but she really likes all of the lights.
Just play Rihanna's part.
Yeah, basically that's what we did. But I'm like, fuck it, we're coming out to Kanye. So that was our entrance song, if you will. But I love this album so much. This of the albums that we've talked about, this is still the one that's like in constant repeatability for me.
Yeah,
like I'm listening to it all the time. It's probably, I would probably say, like one of my top 10 most listened to albums spanning all of the genres. I probably listen to this one the most. Yeah,
this is one of the best projects that he's put out. Kanye Bride. Yeah, I mean, shout out Diddy.
I don't know. We're shouting out Diddy, but yeah, shout out Diddy. Joey B saying another fire album. And then the last one is the one that didn't get as much love, or actually I got two. See, that's what I keep saying. I keep saying, I'm like, oh, this is the last one that I like. I said originally in the tweet, I want to talk about his first 3 albums. It's technically like his first 6 or 7 albums.
Okay. To start off, everyone hated this album. They're like, what the actual fuck is this? Like, he lost his fucking mind. But to me, this is like his most punk rock album. Like, he didn't give a fuck. He was breaking that shit down. Like, Black Skinhead, fire. Blood on the Leaves, fire. Bound to, banger.
Yeah, this one for sure is the most aggressive Kanye of like the ones we've talked about, where it made people uncomfortable. Yeah. A lot of the times before that, He had the singles, he had the radio and commercial hits. And a lot of times you could talk about like actors doing like, hey, I'm gonna do one Marvel movie and then one like art house. It's like one for them, one for me.
Yeah.
Kanye was kind of on that path of like each album had like a one for them, one for me, like single radio hit. I could play it on B96 and 103.5. And then like there's a couple of deeper tracks that like were more serious, kind of like Diamonds of Sierra Leone or something that more topical that he wants to talk about. This one made people uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but that's
well,
what you mentioned. I really liked it because it was so aggressive.
Yeah, and it mostly came out in the interviews because this is where you can see where, oh, is it confidence or like his ego is like beyond him now? Because this is where, I told you who I thought I was, a god. And that was the whole aspect of it, is I am above everything. I'm greater than everything. I am art. And a lot of people don't. I mean, they didn't fuck with that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can make this correlation, but I'm going to make it anyway because this is typically a nerd show. This is where like Anakin Skywalker turned into Darth Vader.
Yeah.
This album was the switch that was like there's no turning back now.
Yeah, he was pushing back a little bit. I mean, not a little bit. He was really kind of just rattling because there wasn't really any other artists that were as aggressive as this. Yeah, they're like, oh, look at my chain, and they're flaunting shit. But he is here just in your face saying, I'm here. And I'm not.
By this time, he was bona fide. He was proven. Yeah. He had all of the commercial and money and success and stuff like that. So like he wasn't trying to prove himself anymore. He's saying, this is who I am, or this is what I'm about.
Right. No, I mean, like I said, this is his punk rock album, and a lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. I did too. It's in my top 5. I will say that.
And this is the last one I really wanted to deep dive into was The Life of Pablo, because I think this is his most underrated album. This is the last one that I really fucked with, but like Ultralight Beam is a track that I still play on constant rotation. That I would argue that Chance verse on this was the best thing Chance has ever put out. And I'm a huge Chance. I mean, I was and still am. I'm rooting for Chance. I need him to get back to, the acid rap, doing drugs. Maybe now, with the divorce and some things happening, maybe he goes back to that Chance. Just like we talk about going back to that Kanye. But Ultralight Beam, that Chance verse is so good. But yeah, like Father Stretch My Hands and Famous. I mean, there's still some real bangers on this.
Yeah, No More Parties in LA, Fade, Post Malone, like, man, yeah, this is one of, and again, this tour where he was basically just like levitating on a stage over everybody, like,
yeah, it was just a floating stage. I mean, half the people in the pit couldn't even see him because you're like underneath him. But it was basically he started the rap mosh pit that now Travis Scott and all the people have made famous. Some more unfortunate than others, because there's been some incidences with that. But like mosh pits were like a punk rock thing for a long time, and realistically, that tour with the open pit was the start of all of the, like now everyone does it. Like, every rapper is like, hey, open up and make, like, people are making circle pads for like, Travis Scott and different people. Kanye started that as well.
Look, this is, I mean, Life of Pablo. That's where I got this font from. And I mean, the merch for the Yeezus tour, the merch for Life of Pablo, like, bonkers. They're fantastic.
All right, so we've gassed them up, and I know if you want to go deeper, because I really didn't mess with Ye or Jesus is King or basically
so
any of them.
Real quick,
can go ahead.
Real quick, top 5: College Dropout, My Beautiful Dark Fantasy, Life of Pablo, Yeezus, and then it's gonna be the Ye and Bully album. that those right now are there.
All right.
But going back to like the Jesus is King, so it just so happened that we were in Chicago, I want to say for a game, and that's when they released free tickets. It was downtown. I forgot the little theater that they were doing like the listening party, and they released X amount of tickets. I fucking got them. I was drinking at the Bean, at the bar area at the Bean, and I was like, oh shit, they released the tickets. Boom, got them. We went to the listening party. We saw Kanye. We saw Kim. And I will say this, not the most religious person. I have faith, right? But that was the closest thing that I felt to like a spiritual awakening. I don't know if the bass was on so high, the music, the vibe of everybody. There was no phones allowed. Everything was like super top secret, but everyone was vibing. It was probably one of the best experiences. And the fact that it was free, like hands down.
Yeah, the free part of it makes a big difference. But I'm picturing you like that meme of that guy in church, and you're like, "I am delivered."
That's the way I felt. I felt that way walking out of the theater. Like that meme of like, you know, SpongeBob kind of like levitating. That was me the whole like hour. That was me the whole hour.
Oh shit. I will say, back to the listening parties, Kanye's been famous for that from the beginning. I know he did one for Bully in Chicago, and I gotta give him credit. He did a listening party with a bunch of the freelance wrestlers in Chicago. They were wrestling in a ring with like a curtain, so you could only see their shadows for like the most of the album, and then somehow the curtain dropped. So then it's just a listening party with professional wrestling involved, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have been there. But yeah, all right. So we've given Kanye 37 minutes of our love, and realistically, I knew that was gonna happen because we were both been so big of fans. But we kind of have to get to a little bit of the bad, because there's even though I just said a little bit of the bad, there's a lot of bit of the bad. There's a lot of things that he's done, said, that have not only rubbed the people the wrong way, but offended and really hurt a lot of people. And I'm not even going to talk. I mean, we'll start about obviously the biggest part is, you know, releasing a song called Heil Hitler and deep diving basically into anti-Semitism for a full year, like 9 months, where he was going ham on some people. And unfortunately, the first thing I noticed, or at least like following him since the beginning, you can tell when he's in his manic episodes. And I'm not saying that's not an excuse whatsoever, but like you could tell when he's giving an interview and he's kind of coherent and lucid and like just like in it. And then there's other times where he's just like, oh, like he's off the rails. You could tell right away. And unfortunately, that comes with mental illness and bipolar and all of that. But other than that, obviously he's offended his wife, his co-workers, everything. I guess it started with Taylor Swift, but that's that. I don't even, and I'm a Swift guy, but I don't even consider that anywhere near what like the recent stuff has been. But where I want to say, like, is he back? Because we're going to talk about Bully in a second. After the anti-Semitism and like him really getting quote unquote canceled, it seems like he's turned the corner now. And I don't know if it's more because like he's got to make the money, or if it's more of a like, hey, this is now my legacy, or maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, he's, you know, getting the treatment and maybe finding something that is actually, you know, getting him back to neutral. Because he said, like, the UK banned him basically.
Right.
The wireless tour or the wireless concert, they announced that he was going. Everyone pulled out. Sponsors pulled out. Pepsi pulled out. And the UK banned him, and he says, "Hey, I'll go and talk to any, you know, Jewish leaders that you want me to. I'll
He
make
has
amends."
already too.
And he has done that in
Yeah.
I know he's done that in LA and New York. And I know there's a lot of people still very pissed off, and rightfully so. There's been people in his corner, someone like Jonah Hill. He's like, hey, one, he said it's Kanye being Kanye, but two, he's like, I could see where like he's not coming from. Obviously, no one could see where he's coming from, but he could see that he's trying to make amends.
Yeah.
And that's
people don't
basically
have
what
to
you can hope
take
for.
it,
And
you
right.
know?
So that's where
People don't have
I
to
want to
take it.
talk about. I'm okay. Like there's people in my life, or you know, personally, professionally, things like that. You burn a bridge, you burn a bridge. Hey, you go our separate ways. No harm, no foul. Fuck you, me, fuck me. Cool. We're done.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean other people can't like him, or other people can't be excited that he's selling out 80,000 people in Los Angeles
Instantly.
with a flick of a button.
Doesn't
Like
matter.
he had 2 shows at SoFi a week ago where it was 80,000 people a piece, and they sold out instantly. He could do that in every city.
There was a million people in queue.
Yeah, a million people in queue. The YouTube numbers are bananas because I was watching. I watched it like 2 different times, and we can talk about the visuals and stuff for Bully there. But that's where I want to say, like, I'm okay if people hate him. You have a right to hate him. Like, there's a lot of times I'm a professional wrestling fan. I'm going to talk WrestleMania next week on the Bologna Show. There's a lot of wrestlers that have done a lot of bad things, and I don't fuck with them anymore. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop going to AEW or WWE shows because of that. And I'm also not going to, you know, judge anybody that still roots for those people. So it's a tricky situation. I understand that.
Of course.
But where do you lie in all this?
I mean, look. Oh man, I'm gonna say it. The First Amendment. Everyone has a right to say whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't take away the consequence, though, right? So he said what he said. He's took the brunt of it, right? And the shit that he was saying got him canceled for a long. I mean, everyone pulled out, or they wouldn't let him perform at certain places, right? And so he, for the longest time, for like over a year, he was in Japan. He was in all these places, and still selling every place out. I mean, just recently he was in Mexico. Bang.
Yeah,
everything gone.
That show looked crazy.
And the merch, fantastic. I keep going back to the merch. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm a firm believer. Like people fuck up, but like a family member, like you're just gonna cast them to the side or help him through this fucking mess. And it looks like he has some good people around him now that are making him make better decisions, or at least, I mean, it's kind of hard to put a muzzle on Kanye when he's so outspoken, and he's very hard-headed and he's firm on his beliefs. And that doesn't mean he's right, though. You know, that's on us to be like, you know what, I fuck with him, I don't fuck with him. Or you can separate the person from the music, because the music still bangs. I mean, I used to listen to fucking R. Kelly. I don't like him, but you know, when that song comes out during the weddings, everyone's on the floor dancing. I don't see anyone boycotting them.
It's definitely a pick and choose situation, like of separate the art from the artist. And I think, at least in my head, Kanye has earned enough goodwill, and I'm rooting for him, not only musically and you know, like rap wise, but I'm rooting for him to get better. I want,
absolutely.
Dude, we did a like, you know, famous Chicagoan segment a couple years ago on the Bumpcast. We didn't even want to mention Kanye because, like, at that point he had lost his mind so bad. I want to be able to root for him. I want to be able to bump Homecoming and like, hopefully he makes another Chicago track that, like, you know, is played for the next 20 years or so. Like, I want to be able to root for them. It's just hard to do it at the time because it's like, yeah, man, when he's not getting the help, when he's not, you know, the proper medication. And that's another thing is, like, between the car accident, like him his dentist really fucking him up and a bunch of other things. Like he's
his mom dying.
So he's gone through a lot. I understand that. And that's what gives me a little bit, at least, of sympathy. I'm not absolving what he did or said, but it's like, I could understand, like, hey man, this is a guy that's hurt. This is a guy that's broken. Like, hopefully he gets the help he needs. But yeah, I mean, Yumper is right though. He does have to make changes for years, not just months, right? Yeah. But like, it's a baby step situation.
Yeah. And question: how is this one man, an artist, getting banned like completely from a country when there's some other bad shit going on and we're just letting it go? Like, how did Kanye get into this list?
That's a discussion that I don't think we have the capacity to have.
To me, I don't understand.
No, but you're absolutely right. You know, like when Kanye is doing this, obviously cancelable. But we got a guy sitting in the Oval Office right now that has done and said much more horrific things that is still in power. So it's like, where do you, like, it's damned if you do, damned if you do. Where do you draw the line situation, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, how did Kanye get there? I mean, I can see it, but that just, I mean, it is what it is. Some people are going to allow it, but it's not going to change the fact that that concert that he was going to headline also sold out within minutes. And it's the Kanye effect. You doesn't matter what this man does, because even when he was canceled, whatever he touches just turns to money.
Yeah, and that's something that, like, I've been listening to a bunch, and I really don't want to, but like, once you're in the algorithm, you just get sucked into it. So obviously I was watching to a little bit of like the British news talk about Kanye, and then you get more of it, and then you get more of it. There was one girl, it was actually a reporter's daughter who was like in her 20s, talking about how, you know, the UK banning Kanye because of what he said is, you know, not unfair, but it's like you're still you're banning freedom of speech, basically, is what her argument was. And I understand, you know, bad behavior causes consequence, but like, where do you draw the line on that? And she said, basically, it's like, hopefully he's getting better. And there's a generation of people in their teens and 20s that haven't gotten to be able to see Kanye like we've seen Kanye. The market is there. He's shown it in Mexico City, in Japan and China, and, you know, in SoFi and in Los Angeles, and everywhere he's going.
And it's very liberal, right? They didn't care.
I think there's enough people that there's plenty of people that do care, and there's enough people that either don't care or are able to compartmentalize it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. So let's talk about Bully, because it came out last week, and it was the first time in a long time. Before I even saw the concert footage and the YouTube stuff, I listened to the album on Spotify. I you know, pop in my headphones, and I'm like, I think he might be back. So that's why I titled this, Is Kanye Back? Because Bully is the first time since probably The Life of Pablo for me that I'm like, oh shit, this might be the old Kanye. And I it's not just because, and I know Joey P was in the comments earlier, the song with Peso Pluma, fire. I think I've already listened to it 200 times. Like, it just, I can't stop listening to the Peso Pluma and it's Last Breath, the Kanye song. But he's got about 5 songs on the Bully album where I'm like, oh boy, it's not,
you could hear it.
It's not peak Kanye, but it's almost like, you know, shit, I don't want to make this comparison, but it's almost, I'm gonna do it. It's almost like Jordan shooting jump shots with the 45 jersey on.
Yeah.
He's not there yet. He's not there yet, but it's like, oh shit. He's getting there.
Yeah. So this Bully album has been teased for like, fuck, man, it feels like almost a year now. And I know that originally there was like a 30-minute video, kind of like, well, it was his son fighting like the wrestlers, and it's just one continuous thing. And all the mute, like some of the songs that are on the album now, they sound similar, but obviously he probably wasn't able to clear samples, etc. But that Peso Pluma song was on there, but without him. And
I heard that version. I like it. I like it much better with Peso Pluma.
Absolutely.
Joey P saying I emojis Peso Pluma. Joey,
don't get on it.
Don't close the YouTube. Keep the YouTube going, but mute us and go listen to that song. We got about 10 minutes left of the show. I need to hear your instant reactions to Last Breath, Kanye featuring Peso Pluma. I need it right now. So please, that's homework for you. You got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Is Kanye back? He's never left. Some people might like he hasn't left. To me, at least, they are always talking about Kanye. If it's not about his music, it's the controversy of Kanye being Kanye, right? Oh, he's just going on a Kanye rant. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, he drops a beat. Sometimes there's no music. It's just beats that he drops. Instant, just viral stuff, right? From producing to rapping to his clothes. Look, he messes around, drops a gospel album, wins a Grammy. Like, his shoes, drops it, people talk, goes platinum. Like, there's nothing that this man doesn't touch that doesn't change the culture, in my eyes. Like, that's why in his head, like, he's the greatest artist ever. In his head, you know, some people might agree.
A lot of people will probably agree. I'd be interested to see, because we saw with the Wireless Festival, obviously, like, you know, PayPal pulled out and Pepsi pulled out, and there was a bunch of big named sponsors that pulled out, and obviously he's lost the deal with Adidas, and he's lost most of his like big name brands, if you will. If he does, you know, go back on the up and up, and not Jason Yumper, my bad, that was Yumper. You could punch me, but I'm sorry. Yumper was talking about like it takes more than months, it takes years to do that. I'd be interested to see when he gets like another big deal. It's gonna happen. Someone's gonna pull the trigger. It's right now. It's way too toxic. It's still fresh. It's still raw. It's still a raw nerve. But if he sells out concerts, if he keeps, you know,
I don't even
getting
think
all this hype, I don't think he needs a big deal. But I know someone's gonna give it to him.
Yeah,
whether it's a shoe brand, whether it's a fashion label, or someone like that.
Even with the stuff that he drops now on his own site, like the Yeezy socks or the clogs for like $10-20, it takes like 3 months to get them, but $20, and he's still making, you know, millions. And I want to say, like, those 2 shows he made 33 million easy, 2 days. Like, he's not hurting. I know they're like, oh, Chase took like money from his bank account, he lost all these deals. Adidas still had to pay him. Like, he's cut off ties. He still got paid.
Exactly, and he's still making money from Adidas to this day, even though they don't sell his product anymore, and he's not part of like the Adidas brand. Before we let go, and I'm still waiting on Joey P. I still got I got the visuals to the newest, you know, concert, and that's where we're talking about SoFi. He made, I think you mentioned right, $33 million for the concert or something like that. I think he might have put in 30 of those $33 million into the set design for this thing, because this looked unreal.
Yep. No, so it's fantastic. And again, to have the thought, all right, I'm going to be, because at first, whenever they are building it, it just looks like a mound, right?
Yeah.
A white mound. And then it's like, you know what? We're going to do a projector. It's going to project all these things, all these images, you know, we'll add some smoke. And I mean, just look at that. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool. I will say, I love. Obviously, we just talked about like the genius of Kanye, and with the genius comes a little bit of the madness. I loved it. I watched the show. I watched the YouTube, and he's done this for a while now. The thing that bothers me is like during the concert, he's yelling at people to like, he's like, "Hey, slow down, slow down the world." He's like, "Slow down the globe," and then he's like, "Ah, no, 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 start that over." That stuff bothers me, and I
Yeah.
understand he hasn't done it in a while, and he's always been like that. Like he'll play a song 8 times in a row, or
Yeah.
like he'll keep like if he
He
doesn't
wants
like
it perfect.
something, he wants
Yeah.
it perfect. He's a perfectionist, so
Yeah.
he'll restart a song just because either sometimes it's the crowd's too loud, sometimes it's because the crowd is too low, or sometimes whether it's the track or production, he'll restart stuff. And that comes with, being a perfectionist and being a genius. That's a little bit of it. Like, I'm like, God damn it. Just can you let one of these go so we could just get into the flow of the show?
Yeah. Like, let us enjoy the show.
Exactly. That's
Like,
a
I
little
don't
bit of
need
a
it to be
nitpick.
perfect. Just
Yeah.
go on with it, Kanye.
Like it already looks unbelievable. You don't really have to slow down the world unless maybe he was getting dizzy because the world was going too fast.
Yeah, and I mean it's cool. Like when like he was doing this thing with like Lauryn Hill, and he just comes in like, and they like bring him up. Like, bro, he one of a kind. Like, look at that, the visuals.
Yeah, the visuals have always been on point, but yeah, this is the last one. The one on the right, I talk about. I'm a Dune fan. This looks like because it's all black and white. It looks like the Harkonnens world. I love it. I love all of that.
Yeah, no, it fire.
All right, that we're at the hour mark, Jose. Before we let you go, so one, I should mention we talked about it in the past. If the rumors of the Labor Day show, if the rumors of the Labor Day show, can I get you to come to Chicago for the Soldier Field show? All right, we'll be there. All right, Joey P. Homework done. He says he listened to the Peso Pluma track. Let me know. 4.5 out of 5 stars. That's a good score. That's a good score. That's a passing score. Yeah, that was my favorite track off the Bully album.
I was biased. Fantastic. Yeah. Thanks, biased. Joey.
But yeah, other than that, what are you pushing? What are you selling? I know you got some stuff dealing with the cream sleeve. We got the Bologna hats. We got
the Bologna hats.
We got JT. Where can we find all your
you can
goods?
follow me. You can follow me on X. I know the name is crazy.
Still Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter, Kickflips Thrifts. Follow my Instagram, Kickflips and Threads, and you could hit the link. There's a lot of merch on there, and if there's something that you don't like and you want to make for yourself, I can also do that. I do embroidery work. I can also make some shirts for you. But I will say, Bologna, that hat looks real clean right now. It looks really good on camera.
Fan. I'm a big fan. When Joey P surprised me at the tailgate, I was like, "Oh shit!" I called you right away. I was like, "Fuck, this looks good." So yeah, I appreciate you. I don't know. Did you? I missed. I think I missed it. Maybe you said it. Is there a pre-sale for these, or can people get these?
I mean, we haven't had that discussion yet. But
fuck it. If you're in the comments, buy a hat.
Buy a hat. And I'm also gonna do it in a different color as well. I wanted maybe an all black option. Okay. But we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. That's
we'll talk about that later.
We're tinkering like Kanye.
Yeah, I mean, that colorway looks great.
I love it. I appreciate you as always, my man.
Thank you, man. And man, I'm just excited. I got called up. I went from AAA to the show, man.
Nah,
this is fantastic.
There's gonna be a couple more of these. I have a couple. I have a couple fun ones planned for the middle of the summer. It's gonna be more like the old school bums happy hour. So you're gonna get the call back for sure. That's a for sure.
I'm excited about that.
All right. Before I let you guys go, I do want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up for next week. Like I mentioned, and actually I was talking to my guy Yumper, sponsor of the show, Penguin Imprints. Go to penguinimprints.com for all your goods. I've been doing these later because My wife and daughter are taking the dog to obedience classes, so we're getting her right, is what we're doing. So these start late for the foreseeable future. I think about 6 more weeks of 9 o'clock starts, and then I'm going back to the 8 o'clock start. But next week, we did it once at the beginning of the year. I said I want to do them quarterly, and it's a perfect time to do it because it's WrestleMania week. So next week on the Bologna Show, it's going to be all things wrestling. So tune into that. We're going to preview WrestleMania, talk about the state of wrestling in the first quarter of it, and go from there. So tune in. Make sure if you're watching, please like, subscribe, share. We're 5 away from a good number on YouTube. So if you subscribe on YouTube, we would appreciate it. And then I'll catch you back next week on the Bologna Show. Jose, thank you, man. Smell you later.
Thanks for the invite, man. Thank you.
Goodbye.